Hi there and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk about one of the muscles that most people neglect and, to be honest, forget about. You may have guessed by now that I'm going to be talking about the adductors, the 5 muscles in your inner thigh that are essentially a part of all lower body movements such as squatting, lunging, split squats, and anything like that. But for some reason, people forget about them. So one of my theories is that if you walk into a gym, into a commercial gym, that is, and if you look at the machinery that you can find there, hack squats, you've got Smith machines, you've got like leg extension, leg press, all these kind of quad focused machines that you can find in almost every gym. For those of you who can name 2 machines that you got in your gym that essentially target the adductor muscles, in the comments below this video, you guys will have my congratulations, because most people can't. In most gyms, there's only one machine that will target those muscles, and that will be the adductor machine, obviously. If you're here, if you're creating hip adduction, yes, you are engaging the adductor muscles, but most people lean forward and they can't really get a deep enough stretch for these muscles in order to engage them fully, okay? So in a way, you're probably engaging a bit of the adductor magnus, which is like the thickest adductor muscle, potentially getting a little bit of the longest, but I seriously doubt that you're engaging the smaller pectineus and brevis, which are higher up towards the groin. And you're not engaging the gracilis muscle, because that is the only adductor muscle out of the 5 that actually crosses the knee. So if your knee is bent like this, you won't really be getting the full length of the gracilis muscle. Like if your knees were like this and you were creating, for example, adduction, potentially yes, but the lever has to be below the knee. For the adductor machine, the lever is on the inside of the knee, so it's kind of maybe around here somewhere. So the only kind of piece of the muscles that you've got left is from somewhere here towards the groin, but there's not really enough tension for you to create for the higher kind of portions of the adductor muscles. Most people would argue that you don't really need to be doing like adductor machines, because like heavy squats and that kind of stuff builds adductors. And yes, your adductors are a part of like squatting, split squats and squats in general. But at the same time, like, why do we have so many other machines for quads and hamstrings when squats and deadlifts cover those muscles? You know, think about it, right? So every muscle needs to be isolated in some way if you want to get, you know, optimal activation out of that muscle, or if you don't want to just be doing squats all the time, if you want to like make your life a little bit more interesting when you're in the gym and try out different things. So in this video, I want to first of all talk about the adductors a little bit, but also I want to demonstrate a couple of my favorite exercises that I personally do when it comes to like loading adductors. And the best thing about these exercises is that some of them are pretty kind of easy to set up, they're body weight, and you can really use them in combination with like heavier, more compound exercises, okay? So for the first one, most of you have probably heard of something called the Copenhagen plank. Now, I love this exercise, but there's something that I hate about it, and that is the way that people kind of rush into doing it sometimes. What people do most of the time when they try to use the Copenhagen plank, either as part of a rehab plan or as part of their strength training, they always start off with the hardest variation, which is essentially the full lever Copenhagen plank, which looks like this. So you're going to use the box here to plant your foot, and then you're going to essentially lift off and bring the other leg either flexed like this, or if you've got the space, you can keep it straight. Now, this is a great exercise. However, if you've never done a Copenhagen plank, if you're not warmed up, and if you have any kind of groin injuries or knee injuries, this is going to be a little bit too tough for you, okay? This is something that you have to keep in mind. And a lot of people jump straight into this variation and they get injured because they try and overdo it, you know? Because holding this for like 20-30 seconds for a beginner is not great. So you can do more harm than actually do good here. So what you want to do is essentially shorten the lever by moving down on the box. So instead of me using my full lever with my foot planted, I'm going to go as short as possible, and I'm going to plant my knee here on the box. Now, this allows me to really isolate the higher portion of the groin muscles, so those small pectineus and brevis adductors, and essentially work through the body of the magnus and the longest muscles. So I'm kind of in a way eliminating the gracilis here, and I'm really loading the adductors higher up. This is going to be easier for me to kind of start off with. And if I keep doing this for a couple of weeks, I'm gonna feel that I'm getting stronger and more stable, which means that I can move higher up through the progressions. The second progression will be me increasing the lever, but not going straight to the foot, but actually keeping my knee off the box. So essentially it's the calf muscle that will be planted on the box. So absolutely the same, lift off and hold. This is one of the best ways for you to progress an exercise like the Copenhagen plank, because it can definitely be one of those exercises that looks easy. Most people, when they haven't done it at all in their life and they've never tried it, they can barely hold on to like 15 seconds. And even talking about the first variation, which is the knee on the box. So it's a really strenuous exercise, if you think about it, because you are loading the adductors. And for those of you who have never trained them, besides from like doing squats and that kind of stuff, then for you, this could prove a challenge. Because keep in mind that even if you're squatting heavy weights, it doesn't mean that your adductors would be strong enough to hold you in this exercise. Because squatting heavy weights and then doing this are two completely different things. So even if you're very strong in that kind of movement, it doesn't mean that you're going to be very stable and strong in this type of movement. So keep that in mind, and then slowly progress through the 3 variations. If you're somebody who's got like a groin injury, or you want to learn more about these type of injuries, you can check out my programs and courses in the description of this video. Let's move on with the second exercise. One of the best ways to target the adductors and the groin is to use the core sliders. Okay, so this is a really useful small piece of kit that you can use anywhere because it has 2 sides. Obviously you can use on carpet, you can also use on the gym floor. There are a couple of variations here that I want to show you, but again, this is an exercise that is not for everybody. So if you are somebody who's just trying these things out, or if you are coming back from an injury, keep in mind that this is going to be quite strenuous for the adductors and the higher groin. Okay, so just take it easy. So in order to do that, the first variation, I'm going to plant my foot on the core slider like this. So my toes are actually on the core slider and my knee is on the plyo box here. So what I want is to very slowly shimmy my foot away from the box in order for me to get a stretch. I don't want to go into my full stretch here, especially if I'm a beginner. So I'm going to get to a point where I feel comfortable, and I'm going to start dragging my leg back towards the plyo box. So this is really important because you want to make sure that you keep your legs straight, and this way you are getting the full set of adductor muscles. So let's have a look at that again. Either shimmy, or you can straight away push away. So you can see I'm actually going a little bit deeper this time, and then really try and pull that leg inwards. If you are feeling brave, you can use the heel of your foot. So this time my toes are in the air and I'm using my heel, okay? So remember, don't rotate your leg out like this. You don't want to go out like that. You want to make sure that your toes are pointing forwards, and then again go into that comfortable range and then bring the leg inwards. So it's a lot harder if you're using the heel. I'm mentioning that for those of you who are doing this as a beginner. If this is too much for you and you're trying to regress it, you can really simply hold on to the box like this and then shimmy away or push your leg away and then just like drag the leg back. This is a lot easier because you're not really using your core and it's not really as much pressure on the groin. It's really kind of helping you isolate those adductor muscles. And finally, if you want to make the exercise a little bit harder, I'm going to remove the box, and then you're going to use your body as a lever from this side, and essentially you'll be using both of your legs when this one is coming inwards into adduction. So let me demonstrate. So again, shimmy away. A little bit of a bend here, so I don't really want to lock my knee here. I don't really want to do that. There's always a slight bend, and then I'm trying to bring that leg inwards. And as you can see, I'm trying to kind of use my body a little bit because this is actually really hard to do. So for those of you who are just starting out, you saw how easy it was for me to do it previously, but now I'm having to work extra hard. My VMO is also working hard, so the inside of my quad is working hard against the pressure that's being created. Again, you can use your toes, put them on the core slider, and then work towards bringing that in. Okay, so this is a pretty difficult exercise. So again, if you're a beginner, try not to do it straight away. Maybe start off with the easiest variation. And here we are. Hopefully this video has been useful on your way to having stronger, more stable adductors, and overall stronger medial chain of your body, because that is commonly neglected from most people. Hopefully you understand the anatomy, because I believe that if you're trying to deal with an injury, either rehab, prehab, prevention, whatever, even if you're getting stronger and you're going to the gym, you need to try and understand the anatomy behind what exactly you're doing. Because a lot of the time people go to the gym and they see exercises and they see these like bulky guys doing like heavy squats, heavy deadlifts, and they try and do the same. But there are multiple factors there that essentially are at hand, and most people can't do those big exercises and get away without getting injured. That's the sad truth, essentially. So a lot of our clients in our clinics essentially come from the gym, getting injured after doing heavy exercises, or even not heavy exercises, just like using machines sometimes, because people's bodies are different. People use different kind of substances, to become stronger, bigger, that kind of stuff. So you, as somebody who's looking at these people in the gym and you're trying to be like them, you need to keep in mind that obviously your body's different, your genetics are different, you're eating in a different way, you have a different lifestyle, you may be not taking something that these people are taking, So keep all those factors in mind and try and understand what's happening in your body, because if you are somebody who's getting injured frequently, the best thing you can do about yourself is to try and learn more about your anatomy, because the more you know, the less you'll get injured, essentially, because you can stop yourself from doing certain movements if you know why you must stop doing them. Like I've just explained, going to the gym and just doing squatting and everything like that is not doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna get strong everywhere. You're gonna get strong quads, potentially some strong glutes, but there are a whole bunch of other muscles that probably won't get trained optimally if you're only doing squatting. Okay, so this is it from me in this video. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. If you need help with any injuries, or if you want to learn more about the human body, corrective exercise, or anything like that, check out the Omni Prehab series or the Injury Rehab Library on both of my websites here. And let's work together towards you getting a stronger body for
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel for more exercises and anatomy content. If there is anything specific that you would like me to cover on this channel, please let me know in the comments below this video. See you in the next coach, therapist, or just obsessed with movement. The Omni Prehab series is for you. Over 100 expert-led videos, anatomy deep dives, and game-changing exercises. Join today and get 2 free bonuses.